Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Artist Back Alley, the Artist Back Alley raid train. I am E. Royvis, aka Brian French, and I'm going to be developing some film for you tonight. But before we do that, I have to do some prep work and also find out why my second camera just decided to crap itself. So we're going to find that out right now. We're starting right off with technical fuckery. Thank you. There we go. Like, why didn't that work? But yes. Don't you just love to... Yes, Winged, I do. Considering that camera, that second camera, was fine up until right now. So... oh well. But yes, we'll be developing some film tonight. We're going to be doing that once the actual raid train gets here in about 20 minutes. So I've got some time to get some prep and to get things started. So I'm getting my chemicals. So tonight we are going to be developing a roll of medium format film, which I'm hoping comes out because this guy's some images on it from the photo shoot I did with Winged 41, and also some headstone images on here. So that's what we're going to be working on tonight. But I got to get my chemicals ready to go first. So enjoy the pregame, as it were. So I got to get making sure my chemicals are up to snuff here. Where is my developer? That's important. There you are. Make sure that is, yes, it's developer. Freshly made developer. Made it last night. My stop bath. How are you all doing this lovely Saturday evening? I know most of the, right now the streamer that is on before me, Scummy Bunny, is currently live, and she'll be bringing the party over to me very soon. So I've got some time to do a little prep, making sure that all my chemicals are up to temperature and things like that. All of these chemicals were actually freshly made last night. We get our three main chemicals ready to go. Developer, stop bath, and fixer. And if I need to warm them up, well, I've got my handy-dandy, non-pollutionary photochemistry warming device. Well, the cosplayers at their body shop made custom real suit photos on Instagram. I follow one girl and she comes with some neat ideas. I saw some of the ones that you put, and they look really, really, really awesome. From your travels. Yeah, I had a feeling I'm gonna have to warm up the developer. Like, I even warmed up the apartment too, but it would appear that I'm not gonna have to warm up too much. I will warn you, since these chemicals are probably either a little bit under temperature, I'm going to have to break out the hairdryer, so be prepared for little loud noises. Yes, Tiny Dragon, you are part of the early crowd. This is the pre-show where you get to see me set everything up. Get all my chemicals ready for the star of the show. Yeah, 65. I'm going to need to warm that up a few degrees. Just a few. How about my fixer? Yeah. A little bit. So yes. So we get ready. About 15 minutes or so before Scummy Bunny brings the party over. And then I will have you all to myself for an hour. So I'll start warming that up in about 10 minutes or so. Just going through some of these and I'm like, oh crap, I'm getting low on some of these. I'm gonna have to place an order. Oh, again, thank you so much, Tiny Dragon, for finishing up the constant agitation bit. Actually, I'll share this when the raid train comes, but Tiny Dragon, I asked her to make this for me so that I could actually sell merch on my Redbubble stores. So let me just show you all. Hopefully you all can see that. So you can get constant agitation on t-shirts. This is on my Redbubble shop. Stickers, prints, framed art print. Posters, clocks, magnets, pins, whatever you like. If you want a little piece of what I do, as well as of course all the other stuff you can find in there, all my photography and stuff. But thank you, Tiny Dragon, so much. And now since I'm in the kitchen, I have one monitor. So it's just like, because normally I have the internet stuff over on the second screen and so on and so forth, but whatever. But we are getting ready to go. It's actually been a very, very good raid train so far. I don't know if any of you have been watching some of the other streamers, but it's been great. We've had a couple of co-streams where we've had a DJ doing electronic music while the other artist making the art. Just great stuff. Saw some streamers that I haven't seen in a while, like Chris Carmy. And a Little Chook will start things off tomorrow. I know she hasn't been on in a forever. And while all that was going on, I'm like, oh, it's a good time. I'm going to write some D&D notes because I'm playing D&D tomorrow. So, good background stuff. Good stuff to work by. So, how's the audio so far? This is the first time the first time I brought my new PC out into the kitchen, so I had to rejigger the audio. So, just let me know how the audio sounds. I think we're getting pretty close. awesome sauce. Nope. Yeah, this is step 1 developer. We're not there yet. Okay. Awesome. And good evening, Suez King. Welcome. Welcome. So, as I said just a few minutes ago, tonight we'll be developing this roll of film, black and white film. And if you want to see what's on this roll of film, you're just going to have to stop by here Tuesday evening around 8 p.m. Eastern and see what developed. All right, let's start warming stuff up here. There's going to be a little bit of a loud... Gonna be a little bit of a loud noise because it's a hairdryer, so I will try to do my best here. But I gotta warm each of these up by about 3 degrees, so... There we are. We are there. We are at 68 degrees. Probably residual heat will probably keep that rising for another degree or so. So the purpose of me warming those chemicals up to 68 degrees is a time thing, because while you don't need to have your temp you're at exactly at 68 degrees, the colder your starting developer is, the longer it's going to take to develop. With this particular film, the Ilford Delta 100, it takes 11 minutes to develop. Well, it takes 11 minutes with the developer chemical at 68. If I have to go longer, which I can just use the box that the developer came in and look at that handy dandy chart, which will give me the time. So if I were to keep it at 65, that would have been about 13 minutes. And the warmer your starting developer temperature is, the quicker your developing time is. But you don't want to go too high. It actually, you can go, for black and white film with this developer, you can go as low as 57 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 75. Developing above or below those temperatures are not recommended. Now black and white is very forgiving with that, whereas color film is not. Color film will color film, you really have to be precise, and color film usually it's 120 degrees Fahrenheit. You need some nice nice temperature for that. All right, so we're about 5 minutes away from the raid train coming here. So, two things I want to let you know about, just as a courtesy. One, when the raid train does get here, there's going to be a loud noise. It's going to be the theme from the Sonic the Hedgehog games when you become super or hypersonic. So that's going to play. Also, there's going to be a lot of running water once I actually get started. So if you have to piss, do so now. Because, again, there's going to be a lot of water. Can you get neat effects with the color if you mess with the temperature? If you know what you're doing. and that's the if you know what you're doing walks a fine line between knowing how to break the rules or ruining your film. Because, again, color film has to be pretty precise. I have never developed color film by hand. By the time I got to that point in my curriculum in college, that class was gone. Because enrollment was dropping, and by that point, film was being phased out. So, by the time I finally got that was a 300 level course. That was junior year. I was gone. So I never got to learn how to develop color by hand. I'd still like to learn. With color film, though, it's a lot more dangerous as far as the chemicals are concerned. You need to be in a pretty well-ventilated space to do it, predominantly because of the fixer. The fixer in color film is predominantly bleach. Whereas for black and white film, this fixer has a much more of a vinegary smell to it. Fixer for color film is actually toxic. It's bleach mostly. So you do not want to be inhaling bleach fumes. So how are my chemicals looking? Oh yeah, we're good. That's fine. Oh yeah, we are splendid. The developer and the fixer are both at about 69 degrees. Nice. That'll drop a little bit as we get going. So, but yes. So, disclaimer: Eroiv is a professional photographer who hasn't trained to do this. So just to show you what the size difference is between black and white and 35 millimeter film. So you've all seen 35 millimeter film. Well, as an elder millennial, I can't actually say that with certainty. You might not have ever seen film. So that's what a 35 millimeter roll of film looks like. Now compare that with medium format. Yeah, these chemicals aren't too bad. These are not particularly. If you ingest them, like drink them, they could do a number on you. They won't kill you, but you're gonna feel really terrible. You are gonna. You're not gonna have a bad time. You're not gonna have a great day. Do not drink. All right, so everyone is about to arrive. So just again, loud noises in about 2 minutes, and if you have to piss, do so now. Thank you for the resub. 14 months, Winged. Jesus. And yes, it will soon be time for constant agitation. Yes. Yes. I actually have 2 rolls of film to develop. I'll develop this one tonight, and I'll do another one tomorrow. But the second one will be off stream. More dead things. There's a cemetery actually nearby that I had no idea existed. And it has graves in it from late 1700s. A lot of Revolutionary War soldiers are in there. I didn't even know it existed until like a week ago. Like, oh, shit. Drove there after work yesterday and shot off a roll of film. So. Now, we're good. It's good. Here they come! Here they are! Ha 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 ha! Oh, here we are. Welcome on in, everyone. Welcome to the Hyper Raid train. If this is your first stop on it, I am Eroivis, also known professionally as Brian J. French. Thank you for the follows, Scummy Bunny, Jacob, Paradox Waffle. Thank you so much. Ooh, I'm doing great. How was the rest of your stream, Scummy Bunny? Oculara, thank you for the follow. But I am a photographer. I do both digital and film photography. Hi, Keeman, long time no see. Fwa Heartily, thank you for the follow. Tonight, I am going to be developing a roll of black and white film, medium format film, which is not that much different from 35 millimeter film. Now, this is the age test. Like, elder millennials know what a 35 millimeter roll of film looks like, but some of you watching may not know what photographic film is. Thank you so much for the gift sub to Docmo. Tiny Dragon, thank you so much. So 35 millimeter roll of film, medium format. So in film terms, this would be the equivalent of more resolution. And this is what we're going to be developing tonight. Streamer's manic, about to collapse in power. Yeah, it is very late for you over there. Thank you for the resub, little constant agitation. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So if you want to check out what I do, well, the link is down in the bottom right. That's my card. That is my card page. So that's the link aggregate. That'll take you to my Instagram, Patreon, Redbubble, Vero, website. I also do a lot of nude photography, so sometimes when I'm working on that, I'll stream on a streaming platform called Picardo because Twitch doesn't like nipples. So, but before I begin tonight's proceedings, I just want to let all of you know, on my Redbubble shop, thanks to Tiny Dragon on Fire, you can now get Constant Agitation merch, which I will show you. Hold on. Here we are. You can get the Constant Agitation on t-shirts, hoodies, pullovers. You can get stickers, magnets, prints, clocks, tote bags, all on my Redbubble store. So again, thank you so much to Tiny Dragon on Fire. So if you want a little piece of Constant Agitation, check out my Redbubble store, and that is where you can get it. And again, the Redbubble link is in that bjfrench.card.co link. So let's get started. I'm going to develop some black and white film. So, what we need some hardware and some software. So, how do you develop film in all of this light? With a developing tank and a film changing bag. So in this film developing tank, we have a number of components. So this is the spool. This is where we're going to take, in that film changing bag, which is a light tight bag, we're going to take this film off this reel and put it onto this reel. Then we take the reel, put it into the developing tank. We take the funnel that this is where I'm going to pour the chemicals into. Put it in here. Locks into place, also makes it light tight. And then the lid. But I have to do this completely blind, as it were. I cannot, once I take this film out in the film changing bag, you have to do this all by touch. Which is usually if you're learning how to do this. When I learned how to do this in high school in 2003, this was the hardest part of the entire process. So I'm going to do that for you right now. Also, thank you so much. I see the hype train going. Thank you so much. I'm actually all by myself this weekend. My spouse is in Canada land. So I am very glad that I have all of you lovely people to keep me company for the next hour. Little choked it a little bit, but with far less shit. And you don't have to worry about a baby spraying piss in your face or anything like that. All right. All right. So, let's... All right, so this bag is double layered, and it's got two sleeves for me to slide into, and it's got elastic at the end of each sleeve that's really tight, really just grips your forearms to try to minimize any and all light. Aw. thank you for the bits. All right. So everything is in place. So there's the developing reel. Now I've got the film in my hand. I am now just going to narrate the process. As I start getting this film unwound. So I'm going to be developing this film tonight. And if you want to see what develops, you'll have to come back this Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll actually be working on editing the results. There's the paper. Where's the film? There's the film. So there's the end of the film. Now we're going to load it onto the developing spool. There we go. Now we're loading it up. So typically a roll of medium format film, depending on the camera that you're using, will have either 12 or 16 exposures. For my camera, it does 16. So when I get to the end of this film, there is a little piece of masking tape, a little piece of Scotch tape, that's attaching it to the plastic center. I have to take that little piece of Scotch tape off, which I'm doing right now. There we are. Finish loading the film. There we are. Okay. Film's there. Funnel. Jason Foy, thank you for the follow. Put the lid on. Screw it tight. And there we are. So that entire roll of film is now in here, and all that's left is the paper backing that was behind the film. So that's it. That's it. It's in. We are ready to go. So while we do that, let me just fold this table away so that I have room to work. Because normally I don't develop film in my kitchen. This apartment has 2 bathrooms, and I use one of them as the designated developing toilet. Room for constant agitation. Very constant. All right. Oh, thank you so much, Scummy. You have a wonderful rest of your night. Yeah, we can't have just partial agitation. No, that just won't do. All right, so now that the film is in here, we are ready to develop, and so I use 5 chemicals for this process. The first 3 are absolutely mandatory. The last 2 just make the end a little easier. So the first one is Film Developer. Ilford ID11 Film Developer. I shoot exclusively Ilford films, so I just use all Ilford chemicals. Ilford is a fine British producer of film and chemistry. So start with that. I mix this overnight because this comes in a powder and it dissolves in 104 degrees Fahrenheit or 40 degrees Celsius if you do not use American Freedom units. That's the first one. The second chemical that I use is called Stop Bath, called Ilfo Stop, and it looks like this. So, if your urine comes out looking like this, you are very dehydrated. Drink some goddamn water. And Stop Bath does it. It's exactly what it says on the tin. It stops the developing dead in its tracks. The third and last mandatory chemical that I use is Fixer. What this does is it removes any undeveloped silver off the film and makes it so that the film can be taken out in the light and it's safe to use. I'll get to the two other chemicals when we get there, but this first thing is the developer. Now, I just know from developing this particular type of film, Ilford Delta 100, that it takes 11 minutes at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius. Now, how much did you cool off? Oh, you are exactly 68. So, once you pour the developer in the tank, we do not need to see that. I'll just notice that that second camera is just having a nice view of my ass. Once you pour the developer into your tank here, you are committed. You cannot leave at all. You need to budget about 30 minutes from start to finish. Once you pour that in, all bets are off. Emergencies cannot happen. I'm sorry, the house is on fire. All right, well, I've got film. Guess I'll die. So we start with the developer. So as soon as I have a timer on here for 11 minutes. So are we ready, ladies and jelly spoons? Actually, I'll do this here. Now, developer and fixer, you will notice, are colorless. So how do I know which is which? Well, first I've labeled my one's developer and one's fixer. Also, developer has no smell. Fixer smells like vinegar. So, yeah, that's fixer. That smells like nothing. So, are you ready for some agitation? All right. Let's do this. No, do not sniff chemicals at home. I am a trained professional, they say. All right, here we go. $20 ounces. Go. And now we are going to agitate this for the first 30 seconds so that the film gets covered in the stuff. We have to constantly agitate. 30 seconds. It begins! And then we just lightly slam it to get the air bubbles off. And we're going to agitate this at the top of every minute for 10 seconds. While that's going on, time to get our rinse water started. So if you have to pee, so I want to get my rinse water 68 degrees. I want to make sure all the chemicals are pretty much the same temperature across the board. Black and white film is very forgiving. You can develop anywhere between 57 degrees and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. You just have to adjust your time accordingly. If you're colder than 68, you need to add time. If you're warmer than 68, it's less time. And usually that information can be found on the box of Developer in a nice little handy chart with all those slanty lines on it. You're ready to go again. Agitation! And the reason why you do this is that as the developer is reacting with the light-sensitive silver on the film, you need to keep moving it so that fresh developer keeps cycling over the film. Otherwise, you're going to get uneven developing because all the developer just sits in one place. Oh, that is way too warm. That's 85 degrees. We can't have that. How has the raid trade been for everyone so far? I've seen a lot of it today, and so far it's been great. Like constantly pouring butter on a steak for extra. Yes, except you don't want to eat this. Oh, I had sloppy joes for dinner, but now I want steak. I like steak, I like butter. Alright, we're still coming down. Chicken for dinner, alright. I gotta figure out what I'm feeding myself tomorrow. Because, yeah. My spouse is in Canada land, so I have to cook for myself, which, not a problem. Not a problem. Almost there. 7 minutes. Was really, really loving earlier today seeing the music and art co-stream together. That was nice. That was really cool. I just love also, Jason, your dogs that were just like, yeah, this is the thing that happens. Especially the one that just kept wagging their tail in time with the beat. We're here, just about there. Yep, my rinse water is at 68 degrees, which is exactly where I want it. So different kinds of films will take different times. Will take different lengths of time with the developer. Ilford Delta 100 will take less time than, say, Ilford Delta 400, because 400 speed film has more silver on it than 100. So if you ever shot film, if you were a kid or wherever you see film in the store, you'll see different film speeds, 100, 200, 400, 800, and they go up the line. And the bigger the number, the bigger the microscopic silver grains that are on the film. Also, the bigger the film speed, the less light you need for the film to react. So 100 speed film you would not shoot in dark conditions unless you had a tripod. .400 speed film is your typical general purpose all around film. 800 we start going into action and start digging into low light photography, and then 1600, 3200 we get into really low light. Yes, like 800, 1600, 32, 3200. Yes, those are good night photography film. Yes. Hey, Steph. So 100 speed you would use in bright conditions. So in a studio or a bright day outside, 800, 1600 and higher, that would be your night photography. Action shots, same thing. 800 speed is a good action. 800 is a good action because you don't need as much light to react to it. So you're going to reduce the chances of blur happening. Whereas 100 speed you would not want to use for action because of the amount of light you need to take in before it even reacts with the emulsion. So yes. 800 and higher, good for action. Two minutes to go on the developer. So after this part is finished, we then move to the stop bath, which again is this stuff, which looks like a very, very dehydrated person. It's mostly citric acid, and what it does is, as I said, it'll stop the developer dead in its tracks. We freeze the process because there is such a thing as overdeveloping your film. Yes, indeed. All these chemicals are made fresh. I made them last night. Hot, fresh photochemistry just for you. Overdeveloped film looks like it looks overexposed. It looks muddy. It just looks like bleh. Yeah, it's typically darker. All right, we are coming down to the end here. All right, good lad. Pour. Immediately pour that stop bath in there. And we will constantly agitate this for about 30 seconds. That's all it needs. Jots down the term. Yes, very technical term. Yeah, Jason, like for film, all you need is that film changing bag and one of these. If you were going to make prints, on the other hand, that you still do need a proper darkroom for. Which that'll be if and when I get a house, because my spouse and I, we rent, and the last thing, Brian, why are you ripping out plumbing? A few more of these. No, I wish you did that again. An actual dark room will not be until a house happens. All right. It's for my craft. You wouldn't understand. Yeah, but I'm gonna tell that to the landlord. All right. Stop bath is out. Next will be the fixer. Yeah, we're still good. Fixer is about 4 minutes. And it's the same process as the developer. Constant agitation for the first 30 seconds, and then every 10 seconds at the top of each minute. So what this is doing, as I said before, this is now removing any undeveloped silver that was on the film. And by doing that, we'll make it safe to take out in the light. Now, after this is, like I said, so this is the last of the mandatory required chemicals. So after this, you are essentially done. So what you would do after the time is up is that you would pour the fixer out. If you had an actual darkroom, you would pour the used fixer into a big jug so that you could use it for your prints. But I don't have that, so unfortunately I've got to pour it. I've got to dump it. Which I don't like to do because it does contain microscopic amounts of silver in it. I don't really like introducing metal to the water supply. But with Fixer, once you are done developing film with it, you can use it again for printmaking. You couldn't use it again for another roll of film, but you could definitely use it for prints, and it lasts a good long while. So once this is done, again, if you didn't have the other two chemicals, which I will tell you about in a moment, then you would just let this rinse under your 68 degree water for about 20 minutes so that you get all the fixer off. I use two chemicals to hasten that process. So after I dump the fixer out, it's going to rinse for a minute. And then I'm going to add something called Washade. And what Washade does is it very quickly just removes any excess fixer that's still clinging to the film and reduces my final rinse time from 20 minutes to 5. That is a lot of water, Chook. That's why I use the Washade, because, you know, you might live in a place where you have to pay for your water, or, you know, you don't have a good temperature control on your water, or if you're just on a time crunch. But the reason why you want to get rid of all the fixer, any residual fixer still hanging around, and this is true for both film and prints, is that fixer will cause your film and your prints to degrade over time. They'll start to yellow. Yep, I know that timer is about to be reached. So I'm just pouring my Washade, which is fine. It can sit in there for a little while longer. It's not as time sensitive the way the developer is. It can actually be in there for another minute. Alright. Fix your timer. First rinse. How's my water temperature? It's still exactly 68 degrees. I'll do that for a minute. Yes, Final Fantasy VII Remix has great photo film rinsing music. This whole album that we've been listening to, it's been an album from the website Overclocked Remix, which is one of my favorite video game remix websites. Give it another few seconds. And then. Now and then. Beautiful. First rinse. Alright. Bloop, bloop, bloop. You have to make those noises or it doesn't work. So the next step is Washade, and as you notice, it looks a little... Oh, maybe you can't see it all that well in this light, but it's a bit sudsy. It's a little frothy at the top. This is where you get your arm workout, this particular chemical, because you have to do constant agitation for the entire 2 minutes and 30 seconds. This is no... I got rid of the kazoo reward for this stream only, Steph, because I didn't want to be committed to developing this film and have to do a kazoo at the same time. Photography fact. All right. Woo. Actually, I'll give you a photography fact. As soon as I start the timer. Whoops. Bloop. 2 minutes and 30 seconds of constant agitation. Why don't you have 3? I know. So, I actually looked this up the other day, Little Chook, because I wanted to know just how much silver is on film. And because, desperate times call for desperate measures, and some people will develop film just to try to extract the silver from film, because silver is a precious metal and can pay. So, there is 1 ounce of silver for every 1,000 feet of 35 millimeter film. And that's unexposed 35 millimeter film. When you develop it, you lose about 50% on average to developing. Which is what I mean to say is, if you're trying to mine silver out of solution from film, that's a lot of work for not a whole lot of payout. 1 ounce? No, that's not a freedom unit. Not this time, Steph. But back when film photography was the shit, and we had the major labs like Kodak, Fuji, all of the 1 hour photo labs that would be doing hundreds or thousands of rolls of film per day. Every one of those places had what was called a silver reclamation unit. And it was basically a giant Brita filter, but for silver. So as you dumped your waste chemicals into this silver reclamation unit, the filter would take all of that silver that was suspended in solution, and the substrate would attract that silver, draw it out. So at the end of your day, your week, or whatever, you'd have this clump of actual metallic silver that would be recycled. It would be either sold back to, say, Kodak, and the photo lab would get some money for it, and Kodak would recycle that silver and put it on more film. I mean, you could, Jason, but again, the amount of fixer you would need, and the amount of film you would need to develop to even just get a single ounce of silver, it's not worth it. It is not worth it. So there, look at how frothy that got from the wash aid. So now we dump this out. I'm going to dump this out, and we're going to do the final rinse. 5 minutes. And at this point, we can take the funnel off because it is safe for the light. Frothy should never be an adjective for something that's not edible. No, I'm just reminded of a scene from Archer where somebody mentioned frothy loins, and just my brain has dived right into the gutter. Frothing of the butt. I mean that won't bother me, Flaw, because I have Crohn's disease, which is an autoimmune disease of the digestive system. So, like, anything anally oriented is not too far, because I've long since passed the shame and embarrassment of anything anally related. When you've had Crohn's disease for the last 16 years of your life, and you've been in and out of a number of hospitals and have had a lot of surgeries, you get pretty well acquainted with your body and what it can and can't do very quickly. Eight colonoscopies later. See, I love that emote, little. Just look at all those jaunty buttocks. Flip the CROHN. So flip the H and the O. You poor frother. Oh, same, Steph. You give me a good toilet joke, a good shit joke, I will be dying. I will be on the there you go. I will be on the floor, just dead, completely dead of laughter. Like, there was one I saw on Instagram a couple weeks ago. I'm sure you guys have seen the Winnie the Pooh format meme where you have just Winnie the Pooh and then, like, a more fancier Winnie the Pooh and then a fully dressed up, monocled Winnie the Pooh, and it's three things of the, So, like, the first one said Winnie the Pooh, and the second one, the more cultured one, was like, Winston the Feces, and then the bottom, the most cultured, enlightened one was Winifred the Defecation. And I just died. I completely fell out of my chair, dead. I'm 36, but again, a good toilet humor joke. And I you know, look, if Mozart can write a song, and this is true, that basically translates to suck my ass, then I think we're allowed a shit joke. It's either suck my ass or lick my ass, something like that. But it's an actual thing. I mean, back in Mozart's day, toilet humor was very highbrow. Shit jokes were like the cream of humor. That was the pinnacle. All right. That is it for our final rinse. So now we do the final chemical. And again, this is an optional chemical, but it makes this last step so much easier. This is called Ilfotol. And it's a wetting agent. And the analogy that I like to use most often is if you've ever have owned or used a dishwasher, if you've ever heard of the chemical called Jet Dry, when you use Jet Dry in your dishwasher, it makes it so that so Jet Dry makes it so that you don't have water spots on your glasses and your plates when they dry. This stuff, Ilfotol, is the exact same concept. You pour it on the film, leave it there for a minute, and as it dries, it prevents water spots. Which is great because that's a bitch to edit out. So we're just going to take this Ilfotol, and we're just going to pour it just enough to cover the film. Just enough to cover the film with. We'll do that for 1 minute. At this point, I will just shut this off. And it is here, since that is the final chemical. I mean, speaking of, pretty sure it's, speaking of, fart and poop jokes. Oh yeah, I should hydrate. As well as everyone else. All right. Although, as the late great Robin Williams would say, or did say, he was talking about getting a colonoscopy. He said, "Never moan another doctor's name. They hate that." All right. So now we'll just dump this out. And now comes the moment of truth. We have finished the process. And in the, as always, immortal words of Gomez Adams, "Spirits above me, give me a sign. Shall I be joyous, or shall I be damned?" And there we are. We have 16 lovely, lovely exposures. There we are. That looks really good. I'm excited to see when I scan these tomorrow. I'm very excited. So again, if you want to see what came out on this roll, be sure to stop by my stream this Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, because I'm going to be working on these images. So I'm going to be back in just a minute. I got to go hang this up to start drying. So yeah, that is how you develop film when you don't have a darkroom. And I do this pretty frequently. And it's a lot of fun, and I've loved it. Ever since I took my first Photo 1 class in high school back in 2003. So you'll get to see. And then of course I'll be sharing some of those on Instagram once they're done. So what I've started doing, I'm glad you guys enjoy. I'm very glad you guys enjoy how I do the thing. So what I've started doing on my Patreon is that for the price of a Twitch sub, so $5 a month, if you subscribe to my Patreon, $5 a month or higher, you get from me a physical print, a 4x6 print of my choosing every month by way of thanks. So if that is something you are interested in doing, if you want a print every month, feel free to sign up for my Patreon. Actually, tomorrow my patrons will see what the print is going to be for May. Fwa, this entire album that you've been listening to for my entire stream has been from Final Fantasy VII. It's a Final Fantasy VII Remix album. It's from the website Overclocked Remix, and the album is called Voices of the Lifestream. And one last bit of commerce that if you join me late, so I now have, courtesy of Tiny Dragon on Fire, I have Constant Agitation merch. So I'm just gonna show you that. Hang on just a moment. So we've got Constant Agitation! And you can get that as a t-shirt, a hoodie, tank top. You can get stickers, prints, posters, clocks, pins, tote bags, notebooks, what have you. But if you want some of my madness, it's on my Redbubble store, as well as a bunch of photos from me that you can also get on a variety of stuff on my Redbubble store. So all of that is available. Again, the link is down in the lower right. You can also type in !art. brianjfrench.card.co. That's the link aggregate. So Instagram, Vero, Patreon, Redbubble, all the links are there. So if you want to check it out, follow me or throw some money my way and support my art. Because all the money I earn from Twitch, Redbubble, Patreon, photo shoots, all of that goes into a designated bank account that I have just for my photography, and it helps for me to buy print, film and chemicals and other photo stuff. And I think we've got it. We've got just 3 minutes left, and I'm rating, just to be sure, Little Chook, I'm rating Tubbo Possum. I believe Tubbo Possum is next on the list. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure it's Tubbo Possum. Okay, awesome. Doop-de-doop-de-doop, Tubbo Possum. Excellent. So I'll get that raid going in just a minute. So if you guys have any last questions for me, anything you want to ask before I send you all along? Again, thank you all so much for stopping by, spending some of your Saturday evening with me. I always appreciate the pleasure of your company. I also stream video games. So my stream schedule for next week, Monday and Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I will begin my playthrough of The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. And then Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be working on editing the film you just saw me develop. So hopefully I will see you guys then. So let's get that raid going. Let me just copy the thing. Artist Back Alley is probably the most wonderful community on Discord I've ever been a part of. And I have all of you to thank. So thank you so much for letting me share some of what I do to all of you. And as I always say at the end of every single one of my streams, stay healthy, stay safe, wear your goddamn masks, go get vaccinated, go get boosted. I want you guys to be safe and healthy, and I want all of us to come out of this pandemic on the other side as intact as we possibly can be. So, on that wonderful, wonderful note, everyone, good night, and joy be with you all. Stay tuned. We're going to bring the train over to Tub Opossum. Have a good one, everybody.